welcome back, DragonCon. Crispy here. Kirk Thatcher. Kirk, welcome to DragonCon, my friend. Thank you. We're going to hold this for 5 minutes. All right. Yeah.
This is totally candid.
No rehearsal at all.
No rehearsal.
Off the cuff. I have no cuffs.
Flip the cue card.
That's right. Look at that. All right,
it sure is great to be here, Crispy.
Well,
I really am
you.
enjoying Atlanta.
Kirk, it is a pleasure to. I can't have my glasses. I'm not sure where that went. Well, Kirk, this is your first DragonCon, if I recall.
Yeah.
It's about time that you made it.
Yeah,
so,
I've been hearing about it for years. A lot of my pro friends, artists and puppet people, have just raved about it. They said it's the most positive kind of fan experience.
Right on.
And the vibe, I mean, I think part of it's because it's in the hotels.
Yeah.
So you leave your room and you're in it.
And you're there. You're totally in.
And I love Comic-Con and some of the bigger, more, I don't want to say it's a professional con because this is actually amazingly run. I'm really impressed by how you guys have organized this thing.
Yeah, by the fan, for the fan.
Kudos, but that's what it feels like. By
fans,
for fans. Which, as a fan, it's funny, I was hanging out last night with guys who create shows for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, and Scott Adsit from 30 Rock.
Here, yeah. He did more oral and things like that.
We're all, and Frankenhole, which
I love Frankenhole.
Yeah,
Huge fan of that.
He was surprised I knew about it. Like, are you kidding?
Well, now I feel like I have to say something.
I think we have to bring back Frankenhole. Write cards and letters. But we're all just sitting around, and everyone admires everyone's work, but we're also fans. I mean, that's why I said if I wasn't here doing this, I'd be here walking around.
On the other side. Now, you said you kind of have been coming to cons for a long time.
I've been going, my first Comic-Con when I was about 13, by accident, my family would vacation in San Diego, and we drove by, it was at the old, Conquistador Hotel, I think it was. And it said, comic book convention. It was in the 70s.
Simple.
Yeah. And so I remember I said, whatever, Comic-Con. I'm like, Mom, stop the car.
that's where I want to be.
They went to the beach or something and left me there for a couple hours. And I just kind of was like, oh my gosh. So I started going back probably in the early 80s. And have been going pretty regularly since 1990. If I was living in California.
Right, for the shows over there.
I've been, and I've got tons of friends now who are artists I've met at the conventions,
it's a great place to network.
Well, exactly. I get to ride it off because I meet artists who then, in fact, this year, the Henson company hired a couple guys I became friends with to do designs for them. So,
right on.
Yeah, it's great networking and fun.
So now that you're on this side, as a professional, and I use that word loosely.
Yeah, very
loosely here. So, how do you feel like the experience differs from coming as a fan? I mean, we say professional. You've been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, 30.
But you've only recently started coming to the cons as a professional.
As a professional. It's weird because, I mean, it's fun. It's great. Yeah. And people come up to you and shake your hand and want your picture, which is always. It's nice. I mean, I always am like, wow, why do they want? I mean, I get it because I was that way with Rick Baker and whatever the guys when I was younger, and I wanted to meet to them and talk to them. So I get it. It's just funny to be on this side of it, and you feel like going. Everyone's very nice, which is great. I guess that's the best part of it. And you get cream rooms and you get to do interviews and people think what you have to say is interesting.
Well, don't worry about that here. That's not the case.
Thank God.
You're off the hook here. So you've got your Turkey Hollow special that you've been coming out. It's an idea that's been floating around for a while. It's finally happened.
Yeah, Jim Henson and Jerry Joel cooked it up in the late 60s, around 67, 68. Yeah. And it was a project that never got off the ground. It was an hour-long Thanksgiving special, and then about 5 years ago, the Henson company, it wasn't lost, but they kind of
kept on the back burner for a while.
Well, it was, a lot of other things happened. That same year, Sesame and the Muppets, so Jim focused on that. Yeah. So this kind of guy, it wasn't lost, but it was just, not even back burner, just sort of put in the file drawer.
Fair enough, yeah.
So they rediscovered it, if you will, and...
Look, this was here the entire time? Yeah. Why didn't anyone say anything?
It's funny. Well, they found these great pictures, and even the puppets that were built back then by Don Celine were still in existence. So about 2010, they came to me and said, would you be interested in writing this and directing it? And it was with Jerry, who was my mentor as a Muppet writer.
Miss Jerry.
Jerry Jewell, and then Jim Henson, obviously, I worked with. So I was very excited and kind of jumped at the chance.
Yeah, totally.
It took 5 years, but we finally wrapped in June of this, or July of this year, 2015.
Are you guys going to be doing like a media release, like a digital release?
It's going to come out on the Lifetime Network.
All right.
In November 21st.
Mark
November 21st.
Mark your
check your local
wristwatch.
listings. I think it's 8 o'clock, but it might change depending on your time period. But Lifetime will probably run it for Thanksgiving week.
Right.
And then I was told, I don't know if it's true or not, but they're going to release it on DVD within a month.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, there's such a huge, quicker turnaround time. Like, there used to be a time like, oh, let's go watch our presentation.
Right.
Well, year and a half, we'll have it home media. Now it's like, oh, it's on TV, and you can already buy the DVD, kids.
Yeah, I think so. And hopefully Lifetime will, make it a perennial every Thanksgiving. That's
with what I know about the production, it's something that I've heard about off and on for years, being in the puppet community. If you haven't guessed, I love puppets, and I'm in the community. It definitely seems like it's one of those things, like this is going to be a new family tradition.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Emmett Otter is a Christmas movie. This is, the creatures are not Muppety like Emmett Otter. They're sort of more Muppety. These are more realistic, more like Creature Shop.
Okay.
Dark Crystal Labyrinth, more realistic, if you will.
Right.
But definitely with a fun kind of. I said somewhere between E.T. and Gremlins if the Gremlins never turned into Gremlins and they stayed Mogwai. So it's a fun
adorable
family
little bundles of things.
Well, big, weird bundles.
Big,
of,
giant. I'm sure you've got some pretty big
we
ones.
We used the term fugly in the movie to describe them. It's like, wow, they sure are fugly. And that was the idea, is like, sort of like, I grew up with dogs. My mom rescued dogs. We had all sorts of dogs. Yeah. And sometimes you get a pug or a bulldog, and they're just sort of.
Those are the perfect definition.
Right.
Yeah.
Where
you know instantly where you're going.
They're so
with
funky,
this.
they're cute, but they're not.
God, you're so hideous, but I love you.
Yes. Yeah. So they're kind of like
I get told that often, apparently.
Yeah. Well, me too.
It's crazy stuff. Now we brought up Creature Shop. They put you on that stage.
Yeah.
For Creature Shop. For a while filming that. What was that experience like? I mean, this was Henson doing reality TV.
Yeah.
Which was had to have not been as reality as other TV shows.
It actually was pretty real, and that the competition was really hard. The guys that competed did amazing jobs for the amount of time they had. Well, it was fun, I said it's the best job I ever had. I got to sit and give my opinion. Yeah. Very often, or most of your career as a creative person, a writer, director, puppeteer, builder, you're always getting someone else's opinion and having to deal with it.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong, or if you agree or disagree.
It's there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the person in charge. So. And you're just like, gosh, why do I always have... That guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So, I think one of the reasons they had me on is I'd just done a lot of work outside of just puppets, or outside of Muppet puppets.
Well, you also had the directing. You did directing and things for a while as well.
So I had written, directed, and designed and built things for, Gremlins and Jedi. So I had a big experience. So, it was great. It was a great job. I wish that would come back in some form.
I know we're hoping for it. So if there was one challenge that they had that you could bring back, what was the one challenge
on the show?
I mean, the finale had a huge challenge with the massive things.
Yeah.
But what was the one that was just like, this is my style, this is like personally my fave?
Oh wow. Well, the Dark Crystal Skeksis was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it was, in some ways it was easier on them because they had sort of a style guide if you knew that.
Yeah.
So, but that was fun to look at. Gosh, what was my favorite? I love the swamp creatures because that
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we had the water. It was nice to have the.
It was very like the setting, the scene.
Right. I love really the fact that we had these sets that our art department threw up in a day or two.
It's incredible.
But, and that's the thing about creatures in movies, they're always a part of an environment, whether it's alien in a spaceship or, creatures like Dark Crystal on their own planet, in their own environment. Environment plays a big part in how they interact with it. So that was kind of my favorite element of the show. So I guess out of the, 8 challenges or 10, the last one, and I think the swamp would have been my favorite.
Yeah. You can have this beautiful character that tells their own story, but the world building and everything, it's very a strong point of that. And so you get the whole picture that way, and I totally agree with you on that. I love those moments. So I'm pushing for season 2. I don't know, not that my voice counts, not that anyone listens to me.
I know. Everyone say do Kickstarter or something. I don't know. If we got 1 million people to give $10, that's $10 million.
Just give up a slice of pizza here at the convention. Those are 15, and we'll have ourselves a new show.
Exactly. You have a whole you have 10 new episodes every 10 million. You get
no pressure, but pizza or Muppets.
Just make the checks out to Kirk Thatcher.
So, but Kirk, before you go, it's Randall here, our little mascot Randall. He's got a collection of questions that we have our fans submitted. reach in there, draw a question for me,
All right.
and hopefully this goes well.
I'm going to go with green.
Because you never know.
I'm going to go with green because of
Green's
the Muppet Connect. Do you
fair
read it or do
I'll
I
read it to you.
Okay.
You know what? Of all the people to have drawn this card, Kismet is how I'm going to describe it. This is one of those cards that they're like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. If you could be any Muppet, who would
Seriously?
you be?
Oh my gosh. Wow. This was not rigged.
No, that just happened, so.
Wow. Well, I'm told I look like Sweetums.
Fair.
He's big and
Get
hairy.
the fun gait and everything.
All right, yeah. Gosh, if I could be any Muppet, I've
You've had
never
years
thought
to
of
think
that.
about this question, though.
I didn't think about it.
Would it be an early era or like a later?
Yeah, I know. I'm going through the whole repertoire.
You've got the whole collection in your brain.
Scred from SNL. And,
Yes.
who I loved. I don't know if I want to be him.
That's fair.
You know, I loved Uncle Deadly as a design.
Yes.
And because I love monsters and you know, he's sort of a cross between Vincent Price and Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards Uncle Deadly.
I think that's pretty excellent because he's always one of those characters like me. Uncle Deadly was a personal favorite of mine.
Right, and he was
growing
like
up with
a
the
lost
show.
Muppet. Like he got one or two
He had
lines.
like a cameo in the last couple of films
Right,
and things
and
like
they're bringing
that.
him
so
back on the new series. He's got a
that's
bigger.
what I want to hear about. Yeah. I'm really excited.
I'd say New Zealand, but he's a little one note. But he's just so fun and goofy, like, you know.
I know where you're at. Maybe not everyone does, but trust me, these are all excellent characters.
He's a very strange, fringy Muppets.
Very much.
New Zealand throws the boomerang fish. Kind of talks like Crazy Guggenheim.
A little bit.
He has a boomerang fish egg. I throw them away, and they come back to me. Yeah.
It kind of has. I'm trying to describe. You know what? It's
He
hard
looks
to
like a
describe.
circus ringmaster
with the collar.
with an 18 or 1700s collar on.
Yeah.
And a crazy mustache, like Jerry Colonna, going back a few years.
That's a boomerang we're going to throw back and come back to. Well, Kirk, I want to thank you for your excellent time.
Thank you, Chris.
Hopefully we'll have you
really
back. And DragonCon, find this guy, please.
DragonCon, find me and buy me a drink.
Done. My tie's all around. Let's make it happen.
Thank you.